What's good, y'all boys? If you're watching this video, you probably watched the last video where I was talking about how I felt about the second Republican president. Oh, excuse me. The second GOP Grand Old Party debate. You may remember how pretty much all them people, except for DeSantis, really, and Burke Burnham, whatever the dude name is. And actually, and Chris Christie too. That time they didn't attack him, but Tim Scott and Nikki Haley and Mike Pence was after him, the establishment. Okay, and one of the things that Nikki Haley brought up was, oh, he did business in China. He did business in China. So this is, I guess, one of the, I guess this is a post interview. Vivek Ramaswamy discusses past business with China in reaction to second GOP debate. So let's see what he has to say, where he can actually talk about it and go in detail. It's a 9-minute long video, 10-minute long video, without people interrupting him or talking over him. You know, no one with agendas trying to make him look stupid and dumb. That's the thing. Vivek has gained a lot of steam from an outsider coming in, and when you're an outsider coming in, they don't like that. Okay, they don't like that. Y'all ready? Let's go.
I've covered politics for a while. Yeah. When a candidate says something like that, no, I'm not a know-it-all, it might come from research that shows that voters are concerned about that. Why did you say that then?
It actually didn't show up in any polling numbers, but I understand if I was looking at myself after the first debate, to be really honest with you, and I didn't know me, that's what I would have thought.
How come?
Well, look, I think that I'm a new...
okay. So that's what I kind of figured, that it was either him, parts of his team, or him trying to be self-reflective. But you got to remember, this is politics, bro. These people are not your friends, and you got to recognize your specific position. They don't like you. It's you against them. The whole machine, really. So that nice guy stuff, I'm sure he's a nice person, but you got to remember, these people, they're not your friends. They don't like you. They don't care. You have to be out damn near for blood.
New guy. People, I have no voting record in legislatures or in the Senate or a governing track record. I do have a business track record, but people aren't familiar with that. And so I understand if I were sitting at home and seeing a 38-year-old guy...
Pretty much he did it for the audience. He did it for the audience. He didn't do it for them up the stage.
On stage for the first time, and you have heard of him not before, I get that I have to earn the trust of people in this country. And I think a big part of it is that we've already been reaching a lot of younger audiences through social media, more effectively probably than many modern campaigns. But most of the Republican primary voter base is not reachable that way. And so I wanted to be candid with people that this is a process. I wasn't in tonight to have one moment. This is part of a steady climb to what I believe will be winning the nomination and reuniting this party and then reuniting this country. And I think that was my mentality on the stage tonight. I'm really pleased with how it went.
When you came over here, you said to me that from your perspective, phase one of your campaign is coming to a close, and now you're in phase two. Can you explain what that means?
Well, most people who come out of nowhere, like me, seemingly at least out of nowhere, in March when I'm polling at 0.0%, would not be at this phase of the campaign. And so that means we need to talk to everybody at all hours of the day. One of the things I've realized about myself, though, Dana, is that I'm at my best when I also create space to actually remind myself to think, to have the vision of this campaign, and so of where we're going. And so we're not going to be doing media frenzies or anything going forward. I'll talk to everybody. Left-wing, right-wing media, doesn't matter. But I'm going to focus more on what is day one going to look like. And not only just what is day one, what does January 2033 look like? When I leave that office, after 2 terms, hopefully, what do I want to tell the people of this country that we did? From here on out, that's actually my focus. And there's a little bit of a chicken and egg when you start a campaign as an outsider like this. I think we have achieved critical velocity, but now I'm not in this to just be here. I'm in this to lead this country and hopefully, dare I say it, reunite this country.
Okay.
And I think that's going to be a different side of me that I hope that people get to know over the course of the next few months.
Okay, before you get even close to what you just described, you very well know that you're going to have to secure the Republican nomination.
Yes.
You, just like the first debate, there were some knives out for you tonight.
Yes.
And one of the things that we heard from Nikki Haley and I believe
China.
Mike Pence was criticism of you when it comes to China.
Yeah, that's puzzling to me, but that's okay.
Well, the idea is that when you were...
I did do business in China. That's true.
Okay.
Yeah, just like damn near every other company in America. Duh. If you're watching this video, I want you to look at the tag on your shirt or pants right now and see if it says made in China. See if it say made in America, okay? These phones that we all have, where do these batteries come from? Who made these phones? Who put these shits together? Well, I think a lot of the parts of the battery came from Africa. But come on.
And so, first of all, is that criticism fair? Should you not have done business in China?
I wouldn't say that. I'll admit mistakes, but that's not a mistake because every American CEO was expanding into China, and so I was among them.
Why did you pull out?
Actually, I'm proud of it because I saw what the expectations are if you're doing business in China. You can't criticize...
Expectations by the Chinese or America?
By the Chinese. You can't criticize the CCP. So when I started my next business, not only did we pull out from the first business, when I started my second business, Strive, I became actually the first leader of an asset manager to say we would never...
Damn, that's why they be getting on LeBron. Because LeBron be talking about social issues sometimes, especially when it comes, if it's something that affects black people, like if it's a shooting or something, or when he talked about Kyle Rittenhouse, but then delete the tweet because he was wrong. They get on him because he says stuff about that, but he doesn't call out China. China, the CCP, currently have concentration camps, okay, for the Uyghur Muslims. And the media doesn't talk about it. Nobody talks about it. And LeBron definitely don't talk about it because the NBA gets a lot of money from China. And if they were to call out China, China would mess with their funding.
Asset management business in China. That was unique.
China!
I've probably been the most outspoken CEO in America about the risks of doing business in China.
Think about this is so funny because I remember back in high school, like this when Donald Trump was president, and there was like a meme type of thing where it's like, or jokes like Donald Trump, how much he says China, 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 China. And as a kid, like, you don't see it as anything other than just, politician doing politician talk. Like, he just talking about some other country. Oh, maybe he's racist because they say he's racist. But then now when you actually, look more into it and hear more in detail on the relationship between America and China, and, more on the geopolitical spectrum of things, you kind of see that, as an American, you probably don't want China to surpass America as number one. Okay, that's probably not a good thing. So it's just funny how they try to make fun of Donald Trump for talking about China, when it's like, bro, you know how much money we owe to China? Like, bro, that shit's not good. This is not good. And I'm not acting like I have a full understanding of everything, but from what I do understand, come on, bro.
As those other governors criticized me, I was thinking about firing back. Each of them has invited Chinese investment into their states. No doubt about it. But I didn't think that was a good use of time on the debate stage. There was a lot of people going back and forth. I don't think that makes the Republican Party stronger.
Well, they said that you pulled out your businesses in China because you were turning your attention towards running for political office.
No, that's false, actually. It's just blatantly false. But my view is these personal attacks are meaningless. I've actually made harder commitments than most CEOs. There isn't a CEO in America, I think you're going to find, who has been more openly critical of the CCP. And in the spirit of the Reagan Library tonight, here's my view on foreign policy as well. As Reagan said it about the Soviet Union, what did he say? His vision was, we win, they lose. People laughed at him when he said it. They said, like for me, he's an outsider, a simpleton. Well, he actually...
Yeah, Ronald Reagan was an actor.
...got that done. And I say that for the Communist Party of China today. That's my strategy. We win, they lose. And I understand it deeply enough to actually lead us to get there.
There was another comment that you made tonight that caught my attention.
Yeah.
You said transgenderism, especially in kids, is a mental health disorder.
Oh, yeah, he did say that.
Yes.
They don't like when he say that. They think that's insensitive, that's evil. Why Republicans, why they want to worry so much about 0.1% of the population? Well, maybe because they keep trying to push that shit on everybody. Maybe that's why.
How do you know that?
Well, it's up through the DSM-5. It has been characterized as a mental health condition. And I come from a place of compassion here. I do not think we're doing these kids a favor when they're confused to say, oh, let's affirm your confusion, instead of asking an open question, what else might be going wrong?
Yeah, and, like, bro, come on. I don't need to say too much, but just the concept of that is obviously not a regular, recurring thing. Well, not recurring, but it's obviously not a regular, naturally occurring thing, bro. Where you look at your body and like, oh yeah, I have the wrong body parts. Oh, intersex people don't exist? Of course they exist, but that's not the regular. That's a defect. That's a malfunction. You think what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. But the thing is, they like to guilt people and shame people, and they try to emotionally manipulate people into acting like it's just something regular. Not saying that obviously you don't have to, attack these people or, do bad things to them, but don't try to act like it's something regular or healthy, especially when they push it on kids. Let's not act, and they try to act like kids aren't easily influenced. They try to act like it's really stupid to me, bro. Come on.
In that kid's life.
The
fact that schools hide that from parents, I think is wrong.
It wasn't that long ago that many people in America thought being gay was a mental health disorder.
I think there's a fundamental difference here. Unlike for being gay with...
There's a difference.
There's no genetic basis for it. Here, you have a genetic basis for your gender. 2 X chromosomes, you're a woman. An X and a Y, you're a man. Are there rare cases of XXY and XYY? Sure. But that's a fringe case, and I've said in other forums...
But you understand that there are people who make the very difficult choice to change their gender.
Yeah.
They don't think that it is a choice.
So let's at least draw some boundaries here.
And that's not mental health. So how do you respond to that?
With due respect, I would say let's draw some boundaries. Kids aren't the same as adults.
Okay.
And so the fact that I have met young women, mentioned 2 of them on stage, Chloe and Katie, in their 20s, who now regret having undergone both of them double mastectomies, one of them a hysterectomy, one who won't have children, the other one who will never breastfeed her children, who regret it now. That's not something we should allow kids in this country to do, just as you can't get a tattoo
so just to
before
clarify,
the age of 18.
You're talking about children.
Yes.
Well, first of all, why shouldn't it be a parent's decision with the family and the doctor? Why is it the government's decision? You're a conservative. Why should the government be involved?
And it's a fair question, but I think that there are certain boundaries we draw to say that you can't allow a parent...
Well, the government says that you can't do certain shit. The government says if you're this age, you can't drink. The government says if you're this age, you can't buy cigarettes. Yeah, the government... There's a lot of things that the government says we can and can't do. That's just one of them. They try to use that argument. Oh, well, you're a conservative. Y'all don't like big government. Bro, the government controls certain chemicals and additives that are in foods that they ban, right? Because they're not good, right? So, I mean, yeah, bro. Society functions with some level of government. Surprise. It's not a good gotcha. It's a good gotcha for like someone who's just listening and not partaking, because the act of listening to something is not the same as partaking. Because when you're partaking in something, you're more of an active. If you're in it, you're more of an active listener because you're listening. Because you have to give a response and you're trying to understand, and in order to give a good, meaningful response, you got to understand what the person's saying. If you're just a passive listener, not me because I'm actually listening to give a response, but if you're someone who in the audience is listening, you might be one of the people that are thinking like, okay, that makes sense, or thinking and comparing it to what you already believe, or just someone that's just taking it in. Oh, that's a gotcha. Oh, shit. It is what it is.
To allow their child to engage in abusive or self-abusive behavior. In other contexts, you can't get a tattoo in most states in this union until the age of 18. There are real hard lines. You can't smoke a cigarette just because your parent gives you one. So I do think that we have to protect children. I am a free market person. I do believe that if you want to dress how you want, wear a skirt, if you're a man, I'm not going to stop you from doing it. But you're also not going to change the norms and language of our country or how women compete in sports or how people go to which locker rooms they go into. That's not protecting against a tyranny of the majority. What that's really doing is creating a new tyranny of the minority. And I do think it's important to be vocal about that.
One last question just to...
Facts. They're trying to change shit for a minority of people. That's the other thing, too. Why do you care about 0.01% of people? Okay, well, why are you trying to change everything for 0.1% of people? That don't make sense. 0.0001% of people. And you're trying to change everything for them. That argument goes both ways, dummy. It reminds me of them fat ass motherfuckers. It reminds me of them fat activists that complain about airplanes not being big enough for fat people. Bitch, lose some weight. Come on, bruh. Come on. Because really those same people would be the same ones that complain about carbon emissions. So for your big behind, you want to make planes bigger, you want planes to burn more gas, that's not good for the environment. When you could just lose some weight. You want to change, that's the thing, that's a common trope with a lot of these people. They want to change the world instead of changing themselves and their behaviors. Because when you change yourself, you can help change other people. And if you can change other people, you can change your environment for the better. Instead, they want to change these things in the world that are not even going to give them the results that lead to successful life. Okay, like I just... Come on. Change yourself first, buddy. Focus on that.
Sure that I understand your position. You're talking about children. What
Yes.
about adults? If somebody who is 18 and older is transgender, is that a mental health disorder?
It's my belief that it is. That is my conviction. I think it's a lot of psychiatrists for most of the last century have. But
a lot of psychiatrists for most
but
of
it's
the
not my
last
job.
century
But
thought gay
I think I'm
people
going to say
had
something you
mental health
may agree with me on that.
issues.
He already explained that, though.
It's not my
I
job
don't know if she has an agenda or she's just trying to just, ask him hard questions and see how he does.
to be the
Because
psychiatrist.
just because someone asks you a hard question does not mean that they're against you. They're just, it's a... Especially if you're someone that's trying to be president, you're going to get asked hard questions all the time. It is what it is.
For every adult in this country. I'm running for president of the United States. We live in a free country. We will treat every person with dignity, but that doesn't mean that that person gets to change our language or the way women compete in sports or otherwise. So that's the way I'll govern as a leader of this country who respects individual freedom, but also respects the idea that we have to protect children because kids aren't the same as adults. And I think most people, even friends on the left, I think quietly agree with me on this. Just think about this issue for a second. If you brought up the gay issue a couple of times. Mm-hmm. The same movement that said the sex of the person you're attracted to is hardwired on the day you're born is now the same movement that says your own sex is totally fluid over the course of your life. And I think that we have to at least acknowledge there's a lot of tension there. And so I know a lot of gay people who are offended by being clubbed into the same group through the LGBTQIA plus
Facts.
alphabet
Gays
soup.
against
And
groomers.
so I think we have to start treating people as individuals with respect and dignity. And I'm in this to unite the country, but I'm also going to speak the truth at every step of the way.
This conversation didn't go as I expected to have this debate, but I will just say, and I want to end it here.
What does that mean? Okay, maybe I take back what I said. Maybe she did have an agenda. Hold on. Why did she say that? It didn't go how I expected it to go. How did you expect it to go? What does that mean? What do you mean by that? Okay. See, I was trying to be... I'm really curious. What does she mean by that? Forbes? I don't know Forbes to be... Forbes breaking news. Excuse me. I don't know them to be like clickbaity or agenda driven, but I mean I don't really watch them too much. But I've seen their headlines. I mean, video titles, they don't seem... I don't know.
Is that my impression is that people who are gay talk about how they who they're attracted to. People who are transgender they're talking about how they feel themselves. Last question, just to put a button on this discussion about tonight. Do you feel that the dynamic really changed tonight, especially with Donald J. Trump not on that stage?
I think it did. I think that I am on a steady climb to be our nominee. The person who wins the Republican nomination is not going to do it without the America First base. I was the America First conservative on that stage. And if you look at my closing remark, I was very clear. Unlike everybody else on that stage who was implicitly bashing Trump,
yeah, he did get the last
I
word,
recognize that he was an excellent president. But I am in this race to unite this country. And that will take someone of a different generation. And I think we go further with our America First agenda if we're united. And also if many people, independents and even Democrats, are honest about it, I think there are parts of the America First agenda that many of them agree with too.
Damn, bro, open your hand,
yes,
bro.
I will first reunite this party, and then I will reunite this country. I will honor Donald Trump's legacy as we do, because I think that's the right thing to do. But I believe I will take this to the next level and unite all Americans by reaching in part the next generation. And that's the phase of the campaign we're in now.
Vivek Ramaswamy, thank you so much for coming over.
Appreciate it. Good to see you. Thank you.
Interesting. Yeah, Vivek wants to get a lot of the younger people. Realistically, a lot of young people don't vote, no matter how much they push. I think the most young people voted the last election, because you saw how, and I think the most black people voted too, ever. I think, don't quote me on that, because you saw how much they were pushing for it. They were pushing it a lot. They had strippers in commercials singing and rapping about voting, like go vote, because they thought that's how they was going to reach black people. Crazy. So yeah, Vivek's on TikTok. I actually haven't looked at his TikTok page, but I just saw I saw a video. He was with Jake Paul or something, and Jake Paul tweeted like in support of Vivek. And it is a kind of a criticism you could say I have of him is like, okay, because he has the thing about the voting age from 18 to 25. In order to vote, he wants you to pass the same civics test that immigrants have to pass to become citizens of the United States. There was like a poll thing, a data, I think it was a survey. I don't know, it was some data form. I actually should find it so I could look deep, take a deep dive. But there was like, they're saying that most Americans wouldn't pass that shit. So they're like, oh, well, how would he do that if he's not gonna pass it? So there has to be some other stuff behind it that would have to like push students, high school students, to really be taught the questions that are on those tests. You know what I'm saying? And get, the overall education level higher, which America needs to do anyway. So I don't think that would pass either. But that's something that could easily be used against him. Okay, you want to appeal to young people to vote, but you also say that you want to take those same young people's votes away. That's how they frame it. You want to take their vote away. You said they have to serve if they want to vote. So I don't know if that's really a good plan type shit. I get the idea behind it, but I don't know. But yeah, man, that's what Vivek had to say. Let's look at the comments real quick. The reporter stated at the end, oh, look at that. Same shit I said. Hence, she is not a reporter. She's a person with an agenda. What the replies does that say? Here we go. That's what reporters are nowadays. What the heck is that on Vivek's head? He got the worst haircut. And she's usually quite fair from my experience, but not sure why she made that comment. She opened the discussion for a contentious issue that she kept pushing back on. Maybe she got, I don't know, transgender people in her family. I don't know. Maybe that. I was just about to type the same thing. Or maybe that transgender ideology is even getting these conservative news news outlets. The only actual journalism happening in this country at the moment is all independent. And the mainstream is doing everything they can to silence them. Okay. This guy has more balls about saying what he agrees with than the Scottish Muslim president or PM. It's just sad that the left and right-wing media have united and destroyed this man. Vivek crushed this debate and this interview. He is principled, smart, and has plans to get this country back on track. Vivek wants to have qualified Americans to vote so we don't have any rascals in office. Let's watch Biden and Ernie. But that's the thing, though. Qualified Americans. A lot of people don't like the idea of having to qualify for something because that's not fair. It's crazy, right? But it is something interesting to think about, because there are some very low IQ people that exist. And they tell me this dumbass can vote just like me, but that's the beauty of America, right? We all have the right to do shit. But also, certain things can get used. Can get used for certain powers that be's advantage. But anyways, let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. Did you like his answers? Do you think that reporter had some agenda or something? And yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, join the Discord. It's in the description box, the link below, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.